Sure.
So I wanted to ask you about books. Do you read books? And if so, do you have any favorite books and any books that have changed your life? Like, anything not necessarily change your life, or maybe that's too harsh of a put. Let's say any books you've read in the past that have made a big impact in your life.
Yeah. There's so many, and I used to be an avid
I
reader,
love
but
this topic, by the way.
you do.
I do.
Yeah, and I would say change your life is a fair statement. I think that books can truly change your life. Now, everybody has a different learning medium. Some people need videos, some people need diagrams, some people need books. But I think that books are a good medium because of the fact that you retain the information longer. It has more of an impact. You can stop, you can reread, you can highlight and revisit. I really like books. And for my journey throughout my life, there's been quite a few different books that have impacted my life. But I would say that there's three books, probably four, that are the most important ones that really changed my perspective. I would say the first one is The Peaceful Warrior by Dan Millman. I don't know if you've read that one, but that one's the story's really geared towards an athlete and how he loses his ability to perform his specific sport and how he overcomes it. But the journey is his change in perspective in life. And that was very impactful to me. It made me very self-aware of my perspective in life. So I would say that's number one, Peaceful Warrior. There's actually a movie with Nick
Excuse me
Nolte
to interrupt, David.
No, go
I
ahead.
didn't catch the last name. The Peaceful Warrior by Daniel. What was the last name?
Dan Millman.
Dan Millman.
Yes.
How do you spell the last name, please?
I believe it is Millman. And like I said, there's a movie version. So if you're more of a video person rather than a book reading person, because I know our hero Gary V, he doesn't like to read, but there is a movie version with Nick Nolte as well. And I have a whole interesting story. I could go an hour about my story with Peaceful Warrior, but I won't cover that now. I'll stick to books.
No worries. Maybe we can revisit after when we covered a few topics to a story that really stuck with you.
Sure. The other book, and I actually have it written down here, is The War of Art.
Is it by Lao Tzu?
No. This is The War of Art, not The Art of War. It's reversed,
Understood.
and it's by Stephen Pressfield. And it is actually geared towards creative people, writers, photographers, videographers, anyone that's creative, but it can be used towards business, towards many things. And it's basically the internal conflict that we have with producing and achieving, and to become self-aware of what people go through trying to create. It's actually a really good book. It's a short book. It's an easy read. It's a book that Joe Rogan
books like that.
I'm sorry?
We need books like that as well.
Yeah, no, I think it's a good place to start. And then the last book that I would recommend is called Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life. And that's by Wayne Dyer, Dr. Wayne Dyer, who unfortunately is no longer with us. That is actually his translation and his examination of the Tao Te Ching, brought into a modern world and some modern thinking. It's really meant for you to take a step-by-step approach. And what he did is he took a whole year and went through each chapter of the Tao Te Ching and translated it and thought about it. And he took a whole year to write this book. I think it's an excellent book and something that I can recommend for people as well.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for those book suggestions, David. Those were they sound awesome, and I'm definitely going to check out. The Peaceful Warrior is something that stuck out to me the most. One question I had, I'm 90% sure on the answer, but I want to clarify.
Sure.
The character you were speaking about in the first book, Peaceful Warrior by Dan Millman, Um, was the character the athlete or the coach?
Well, the main character is the athlete, and actually
Understood.
the main character in the story is actually Dan Millman.
Mm,
He took some experiences of his life and created this fictional story, but in some ways autobiographical. So
mhm.
the his mentor in the book is an amalgam of many different people, coaches and mentors that he had throughout his life, and he put that together in one book.
That's awesome. That's amazing. Thank you so much, David. Thank you for sharing this really priceless information, because the information you can find in the books, I think of books as this way. People spent many years to gather the information and knowledge throughout the history to put it in a book, and in a matter of, let's say, 15 to 20 hours, you consume that information. You basically, these people lived their lives and gave everything to create the history. You just consumed it. I think there's a lot of golden nuggets that we can all learn from the books that can actually prevent a lot of downfalls. Not everything, of course. At the end of the day, we're humans, but a lot can be actually uh, uh, minimized by
Yeah,
simply learning from the past.
Tony Robbins has a quote. He always says that success leaves clues, and I think
Yes,
that's what you're looking for.
I
It's
love that.
yeah. I think people always want to reinvent the wheel, and I don't think it's about reinventing the wheel. I think it's about finding the things that work for you and implementing those things on a consistent basis. Because not everything will work for you, but
So true.
those clues of success, if you don't go looking for them, you're never going to find them.
Right. I finished Tony Robbins' book the second time, to be frank with you. Unleash the Beast Within.
Yeah, yeah.
I can't get enough. I get really hyped. That's a really good book to listen to when you want to speak to someone. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, I think that that there's so much good information out there, and really, I think that the general idea is simply to expose yourself to new perspectives that could probably work better for you, especially if you're struggling in an area. Uh, is to make yourself available to those to that information.
Hmm.
And I think once you make yourself available to it, you pick up on those clues and they'll ring true for you. There's just something about the truth that rings true to your heart, your soul, whatever you would like to call it. And you know that that's the thing. It just feels right for you. And that's why I think it's important, especially because this channel is about success. It's important to expose yourself to books, to video, to speakers, because you never know where those nuggets of success will exist.
Absolutely. Well said, David. Well said. And before closing the topic, one of my favorite books is it's a very small, very easy to read book. It's called Richest Man in Babylon. I unfortunately don't know off the top of my head the author, but that's the name of the book. And the book really taught me one thing: how the small habits that we have daily and we do, a lot of us are not even aware of, create such big impact in our life over long term. And Richest Man in Babylon, the person, uh, um, this is specifically geared towards financial, but the the story really applies to everything. It simply says, if you're aware of the small basic simple steps you do on daily basis, and you can adjust them towards to basically bettering your situation and your financial situation, it's there. You don't need to be making, for example, 10,000 a month or 15,000 or wherever, 50,000, 100,000, $500,000 a month in order for you to save money. The amount of money that most of the people make, they're able to do it. It's just a matter of the habits that we have. So that book emphasizes on that a lot. Really that resonated with me. I wanted to put out there.